The reorganization project, part 2. There's going to be a lot of parts to this. So today, I want to put all these vacuums in here, not necessarily the way that they should be, but just to get them out of the way. And then we're going to test out the 3 box fan shelves here and see what that looks like. See if it's going to work or not work, and then we'll make a call on that. It fits a lot of vacuums. I'm not sure why this one is not rolling properly. Okay, so now let's get one of those shelves over here. Ultimately, we're just going to end up taking these and pushing them over here for now so that we can run this trial. As annoying as it is, it's going to be easier to just take each fan off and move it individually versus getting all that stuff out of the way, so we can just roll the shelf in one piece. Ooh, an Edison, a rattly Edison. Alaska, now we're talking. Looks like the sewage pump is working today. That's good. What we might be able to do, just to save a couple of trips, is to take maybe 2 fans and keep them on the shelf like this. And that'll fit through the opening. And we'll do the same thing down here. Okay, we should be able to move this now. The secure Digitan storage card filled up. Fortunately, that's a reusable component. Now this we can't move. This we can cancel out so we can gain another inch. I don't think that that's going to make or break anything though. So this is not easily moved on top here because this top row of fans is too high. Alright, so we have to figure out what our height is going to be here. I have a feeling that 3 box fans is not the best configuration. I think it's going to have to be yeah, see here's the dilemma. If you put this like this, and then you put this here, I can probably move that down a touch. This space is wasted. Now, it is only a couple of inches. You know, we're not talking a high volume of fans that would fit in there, so I guess that's okay. With that in mind, what I might do is maybe I ought to raise this up a little bit so it's easier to get stuff in and out because we're not counting the inches. And we also have to, when this is finalized, change the ordering of this because see this is not correct. You could probably fit 2 3733s here. It's wasting an inch there. But I'm not going to be that particular about it for this test. It doesn't really change the outcome of the test. gotta think of how we're gonna do this here. And while I have this carpet exposed, I think I'm going to do some of the vacuuming. It's kind of rare that the carpet is exposed fully. Yeah, it's dirty. Alright, so I have that shelf of box fans that I want to get over there. That is going to be difficult to move because it's behind all that stuff. So this needs to be categorized differently to look right. This doesn't look right. This looks pretty good. The bottom looks crummy because you got that one, doesn't fit that one. But again, that's all stuff we'll go back and change later. I guess I'll just take this off and then move it and put it back. Another thing we have to figure out is what is the most efficient way to store table fans like this. I assume that something like that is probably the most efficient method. I imagine that probably is the way to go. I do it like this for now and I hang off, and it just makes me nervous. And now we're kind of digressing from the original purpose here, but that's okay because this needed to be figured out as well. I think that that's the best way to do it. So now the question becomes, on the shelf, do we build the shelf this depth and go across the whole room like that? Or do we build the shelf this depth and have it like this way? I think that the other option is better because we have a fair bit of space to work with. Can't get to it, but we're going to solve that problem soon. Right now that looks like it comes out 6, 5, 4. That comes out 2 hands, and I would not mind pulling that out to be 3 hands. I wouldn't mind pulling it out to there, which is this this beam. So that beam is that's actually less depth than I thought. That's only about, oh, rats. Oh, you know what? We weren't up against the back. Can't tell if I'm hitting the, yeah, now it's on the drywall. Yeah, it's just under 3 hands. So there's actually not as much available space as I thought. You've got to be kidding. Got to get another one. That one's going to be stuck there for a couple of days. So this takes about 2 hands, and this takes about just under 3. So, at least for our 12-inch units, this might be the most compact way to do it, because we can really fit quite a few like this. That's 6 fit properly per one of these. This is better. It doesn't give the best visibility straight on, but it does give the best storage. I suppose the other option, which would preserve the visibility of at least half the fans, is to do another row here. This poor unit needs to be repaired still. For some reason this was thrown in a dumpster at a fan collector's convention of all places. So we did a dumpster dive and extracted it, because all it needs is a capacitor. It's Japanese quality. I don't know why you would throw Japanese quality. I don't throw Japanese quality. Does that end up being within the constraints? That does end up being within the constraints. So that's an option too, is you build the shelf to be that deep, and then at least you can have half of it visible like this. You know, if these bases were straight, I don't know why they're all convoluted like that. And then at least half of it's visible, and there's enough duplicates that you can just turn a duplicate basing in, which actually is kind of neat, because then you can see the front and back of the same unit. If this was a 36-inch shelf, that would be fine. So I think that that's going to be the move here, is to go 36 inches from that wall to this wall, and let that take care of all oscillating fans. Now, there's still a question to be answered about 16-inch ones. So maybe the 16-inch ones just go here, 16 and 9-inch, and we'll have to build that one to a different size. This one, I'm not sure if we even have the same depth flexibility. We can cut these beams out because they're not structural. It's about 35. I don't want it to come past the table here. So it's about the same. I don't have enough 16-inch accessible to make this determination right now. Okay, so that's good. I better write this down because I'm not going to remember. So the 30, it's already gone. That's pathetic. I'm going to say 34 would be the minimum. 34, maybe 35. Resist the urge to put that in the wrong spot. Nothing good will come out of it. I'm going to say 35 inch. 33. And we can probably do, probably just find out. And the ceiling height does vary a little bit in this building, so we might have to do a final measurement over there if it's close. That's, we'll just call it 80 for the sake of simplicity. And that goes up about, I'd say we want to have maybe a 22 clearance because you don't want to have it difficult to get things out. I think the Sanyos are among the tallest and they'll fit comfortably at 22. So let's see. If we have 21, 22, if we, let's say we do 22, you have 22, 44, 66, and then 88. So to get a fourth, we can't get a fourth because we only have 83. So it's only going to come to 66, which means on the top row, we do something different. That might be enough space to do window fans. I don't think that's enough space for 9-inch ones. Is there a 9-inch over here? Because they're fairly tall. Yeah, 9-inch is 17. And if we're going 66 to 84, no, it's not adequate. So, and we don't have that many 9 inches anyways. Okay. So it can really only be a 3-tier at 24 inches. No, 24 never even came up, has nothing to do with anything. 22-inch shelf. So this is the depth. and this is our height. This is 22. So that gives us a total of, we said the ceiling was 84. So that puts it as 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. An 18-inch on the top. So actually, it's going to be very close. That would fit. So this is, again, we might have to remeasure it because potentially those could fit on the top shelf. Obviously things like this can fit on the top shelf, and that can fit on the top shelf. This shelf is, yeah, so there's definitely a lot of stuff that could fit in an 18-inch. What about window fans? That could fit. Window fans. Yeah, window fans could fit, so you could potentially do a row of window fans up top. So an 18-inch shelf at the top is by no means not useful. An 18-inch top shelf is useful. So that's good. We've kind of figured this out. So it's a 3-tier 22 and then a 1-tier that'll be 18. And this is based on an 84-inch ceiling, which it could be 86, it could be 82. It might be different over here because the floor in this building is not level. It varies several inches. So we'll have to measure it over here. In fact, it might even be different over there than it is over here. So that's a note that we're going to have to make. So the way it's going to work is it'll be a fan like this, and then a fan like this, and then a fan like this, and then it's going to invert. Nope, that is not capturing what's here. This is horrible. My gosh, this is ridiculous. And this is one of many reasons why I heavily advocate against drinking, because I am completely sober and still can't do this. Okay, that I think captures the way it is. Okay, so we've just solved that. So now what I have to do is I have to get to this area. So we got to complete moving these over, put all that back, and then get those 3 box fan shelves over here so I can function over there, because that's unacceptable the way it is. And then if I can do that tonight, then we got to come over here and we got to kind of measure out how we want to we got to measure out the amount of plywood that we're going to need, which is going to cost a fortune. And then we got to measure out the 2x4s that we're going to need. That's going to be kind of complicated, and if it goes at this pace, it's going to take hours. And it'd probably be wrong because it involves measuring, and I'm not good at that. Alright, so I'm glad we got that figured out. I wasn't expecting to do that part tonight, but that's fine. Nope, it's Freak Show just tipped over. Whoa, see that? This is why I don't like this. This very, very delicate. That's why we're changing it. Hopefully I get it changed before something falls and breaks. Always something breaking. Why is that like that? Now, there you go. Something just fell. This is a great fan, but it has the stupidest bass ever. I hate that dumb bass. That dumb bass is causing a dumb problem right now. Stupid bass. Oops, I thought the ground was higher up. Dumb bass. That bass is trash. Okay. So this is a little bit narrow, but I don't think it's any more narrow than it was before. And if it's this, not worried about scraping up against it. This, like, you got to be real careful, but this is fine. It's not going to fall if somebody scrapes up against it. All right, so let's put that down before that falls. That fan is a piece of crap. This has got some serious sun damage. And we're going to put it right next to a fluorescent light. That's brilliant. I like this fan so much. I like these as well. Very nostalgic. Doesn't fit. Busted. I think, no, that's not going to fit. Well, I can't really move that because it's locked in place by the junk behind it. All right, let's see. Is anything going to go flying as we pull this out? Not too bad, not too bad. That'll clear. That'll clear just perfectly. So what we'll do here is I'll secure these beams into the stairwell because we do need these to hold this. Well, we don't really need this wall. Actually, we could just take the whole thing out, but oh no, we do need these railings. These beams. We need these beams because they hold the railing, I think. Is the railing low enough? Yeah, so the railing does hold onto these beams. So what we'll have to do, because I want access to this way, to be able to, oh, this is important. This is very important. I want to be able to slide in the shop vacs like that. So I'll cut this beam here, and I'll cut this beam here, and I'll secure these beams to the stairwell frame so that they still have the integrity to hold the railing. Okay, so now we got to take this over to here, which will fit within about 1 inch. I have to move that ceiling fan now. That's no longer going to fit there. What a shame. Perfectly good unit. Busted. I have the piece for that somewhere. I grabbed the piece out of the dumpster too. So we can fix that, but it'll never look... It'll run perfectly, but it'll never look as good again. That ceiling fan I'm going to have to move. It's not going to fit there anymore. That fan is a piece of crap. That one's actually not too bad. Very nostalgic. Green. Very nostalgic. And we're going to lose this one here. What else is going? Fits within a half an inch. These fans are awful, these stupid Holmes products. Just put that up there for now. Doesn't move any air anyways. But there are use cases where these clip fans become practical. Now that the wall is not here supporting these, this is making me very nervous. At least before, the wall was there to catch it if it tipped back. Now it's just not okay. All right, yeah, it's getting dark over here now. All right, let's grab this next. This one here. The heck? Fan blades. Those are busted. This fan is so bad, it's probably not even worth keeping. This was good in concept, but it failed because I can't pull this out. This is an older one. How old is this? 03, 04. I'm surprised the cabinet's still that deep in 04. Of course, the handle is busted. Another Ultra. We'll get that going this year. The almighty 3733. This is brand new. It was bought for parts. I think I harvested the handle and the knob to restore a recalled Galaxy model. Okay, now that the top rung is empty, this can come out now. This was the kind of stuff I was talking about in the first video where I tried to do this and it failed for different reasons, and this is one of them. I put all this here and I said, wait a minute, this is a pain in the neck to pull this stuff out because of the ceiling fans. So this didn't work. Is there another? Yeah, there is. There's another row back there. Okay. I really don't want to lose the arrangement of these per shelf, so I'm going to kind of do something a little cringy and stack that up like that temporarily. weakness minus. Here's the original 3733 that I grew up with. I think the switch finally completely kicked the bucket last year. So I might actually harvest the switch from that to repair this, which I'd much rather have in working shape. And then I think that this is actually where the handle went. I think this is the handle. This is a super powerful fan. This is a 2001, I think, recalled. But I still feel like that's a bogus recall. Not because the damages didn't take place from the failed units, but because the number of failed units is so small. I still don't understand that. Like, what constitutes a recall? I mean, we have product failures that happen all the time. Mass manufacturing is not going to have 100% QC. So, you know, if 50 out of 7 million units are defective, does that warrant a recall for the entire fleet, or can we just chalk that up as some defective products? Alright, so we'll just turn these on the side like this, and then we should be able to bring this over like that. It does roll better with the lock off, which I suppose is pretty logical. Let's try to not break the water heater so I can take a warm bath tonight. Okay, so I'm going to put all this back in the order that it came out. This one has to go in the end because of those stupid legs. I can't wait for the summer. Winter just blows. I can't use fans. Yeah, we'll get that fixed this year. This is unit 5. This is a little bit too tight. for preference. It's still pretty free. That was the one that I cleaned and serviced most recently. That one was totally jacked up when it arrived. Okay, this is yeah, that's not good. I need that to be there. I don't know why this is not working anymore. There used to be a hole there. Is there no longer a hole there? Did the hole get closed? That really doesn't make any sense. Whatever, the hole's gone. This is a problem. This is gonna break something. This is the telephone line for the computer room table there, which we're going to be setting up probably tomorrow. So the fact that this phone cord no longer will go through the hole is very strange. I don't even think I can just move on from that. That doesn't make any sense. That absolutely makes no sense. Why does this not fit there anymore? Does there happen to be something right on top of there? Yeah, there is. Go figure. Alright, so there actually is no longer a hole there because there's something on top of it. That's annoying. Ultra. Okay, I know what all that is. Alright, one more. I guess we should probably clean this up too, just kind of slice that off. It's very unappealing. I don't know what that was. I guess there must have been a hole there at some point. Yeah, very, very poor patch job. It's a pretty good sized hole. That's a predicament. That's a wide shelf, which I don't think we can fit. I don't think we can fit one of those wider ones, so I think we have to have a smaller one. That's 36. I think that's what the smaller shelves are, unless they're 24. What is this? Huh. Ain't that something? It's 36. So then what are these? They're 30. So I guess we can... And that's going to really take it right to the edge there. It's going to make it tight, but keep in mind that, I'll keep in mind, it doesn't matter to you, but I have to keep in mind that this is going to move. So it doesn't matter if this is going to be a little bit tight here. It's temporary. This might be a problem though, because the 36 is going to come to the end of that switch. That's not ideal. Now this might be where this is where the 2 inches is going to come into play. Actually, I might be able to push this over a little bit more. Okay, so I will have to cut these beams out. I'll have to cut that beam out and push this over another inch. I need that 1/2 inch. This is an awful fan. Not that that's any surprise for the Holmes brand. These are probably very good. An empty box. Make sure we keep that. Oh, this is heavy. Actually, that's tolerable. I don't like this stuff being on the floor, but it's very, very temporary. Okay, now there's another challenge here that I'm just becoming aware of. This is part of this shelf. This adds a little bit of security in case this was to tip over, kind of stop it. We don't have that on this wider shelf, so that's a little concerning. And what we might have to do to rectify that is maybe attach a second. I have a bunch of extra poles, I think, somewhere. I can attach an extra pole here to move this up, or put some kind of a 2x4 down here. That might be the easiest thing to do, is to drop a 2x4 down like that. But that's a concern, because that would allow stuff to tip over this way, which is not good. Because there is always the possibility that when you walk by, this can get hit, and it's going to cause something up here to wobble. So that's not good. Not good at all. That's got to go somewhere else, because that's blocking the space. What I can do to add some stability, just to cheat for the time being, is to drop that back like that. So now this is not gonna, it's unlikely to tip over. Get enough space cleared so I can create a path over here again. Okay, so now the question is, do we like the way this is? If you come down here, if this stuff wasn't here, if I build a cordless phone shelf, it's going to come out to about here, which is kind of what we have. That's fine. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty good. And if we had it, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on both sides. So eventually, once all these oscillating fans end up over there, then I can have two shelves, 2 rows of box fans. I have all these here. I have maybe one complete shelf between those two, and I have some more in the back. So I think I can actually fill a decent amount more with the box fans. So, all right, that's good. I like the way that came out. I like the way that looks. And I think that that's how we're going to do the box fans. Well, I think the next step is tomorrow we'll make some measurements here, figure out what we need for materials, figure out how to design these shelves, and then build these shelves. Because until I can clear this space, we're kind of at a standstill. So I think that puts this at the next priority. I'll have to figure out how to clean this up in the meantime. But that's it for today. I'm getting a little late, so we'll stop there. But that's good. We figured out how to store the oscillating fans, and now we figured out that this works. And this is easy to pull out too, because this can roll in place. So even though the vacuums are hidden behind it, it's very easy to pull it out and get to the vacuum still.